Good morning, boys and girls. All right, we are continuing with fourth grade rats. Just to let you know, we are in chapter 12, and there are 14 chapters. So I think it'll be today and tomorrow we'll probably finish the last chapters. Very tiny. So as we go into chapter 12, which is called Me and Judy Billings. As we go into chapter 12, I want you to think about something. Now, this book has been kind of funny and stuff, but it actually brings up serious points about growing up. Because I remember growing up, and there's things that you kind of had to let go eventually as you got older and older. So I want you to think about that as we read these last couple chapters, and I'm going to have you write a little bit of something about it, okay? All right, here we go. Me and Judy Billings. After school, I walked Judy Billings home. She asked if I wanted to come in for a popsicle. I said, sure. I wasn't too anxious to go home anyway, with my mom waiting for me. Remember, he said no. Oops. As she opened her front door, something gray streaked past my feet. Oh no, she screeched. Muffy, get back here. Muffy! The cat was already 5 houses up the street. Judy stomped her foot. Oh, I hate that cat. She always does this. She slammed the door shut. We took off after the cat. Whenever she does that, Judy huffed as we ran. She goes up a tree. No sweat, I told her. Yeah. Sure enough, 2 blocks away, there was Muffy up a tree, pretty far up, out on a limb. Judy slumped. Oh no, here we go again. Hey, I reminded her. I said, no sweat. Hey, I said to myself, you're famous. You're number 1. Judy Billings needs your help. Go for it, Black Widow, man. I was in luck. The next day was trash pickup day. Cans were out. I dragged one over to the tree. I climbed onto it. It held me. Good. From the top of the trash can, I looked down at her. She looked up at me, smiling that beautiful smile. I saluted. See ya. I was just high enough to get my fingers around the lowest branch. I dug my sneakers into the bark and pulled myself up. From then on, it was easy. One limb after another, and there I was, even with Muffy. Meow, Muffy said. Okay, Judy called from below. Bring her down. Down? First time I looked down. Uh-oh, what am I doing here? How did I get this high? Far below me, the trash can seemed like a thimble. Judy Billings seemed like a doll, her tiny face looking up at me. Getting fuzzy, getting wavy. Come on, she was saying. Her voice sounded tiny and far away. Come on. I squeezed my eyes shut. I hugged the tree trunk. Uh, uh, I can, I said. You can't, she called. Why not? I tried to think of some other way to say it, but I couldn't. Uh, um, 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 I'm afraid of heights. Oh, great, I heard her say. I opened my eyes. Her hands were on her hips. She wasn't smiling anymore. I'll probably outgrow it, I said. Yeah, she said. Well, you better outgrow it in the next 2 seconds because I want my cat back, and I want her back now. Judy, I wanted to say, it's me, Suds, the guy who risked his life with the spider for you. Something told me it wouldn't make any difference. Now the tree itself was waving. No way I was going down. I couldn't even look down. I reached out, got the cat by my hand under it, and lifted it from the limb. Okay, so now this is the scene that is going on right now. And remember, this kind of brings us back to that other scene when he was afraid of heights. Remember when he was on the roof? All right. Oh, boy. This didn't quite turn out the way he planned, huh? All right. I prayed it was right. It was right what I had heard. That cats always land on their feet. Always, please. And I dropped it. Judy squealed, Muffy! I hugged the tree trunk. I scrunched my cheek against the bark, closed my eyes. When I opened them, only the trash can was beneath the tree, I thought. She's going to get me down here, right? Long time later, when mothers started calling their kids in for dinner, I changed my thought. She isn't going to get somebody for me. Uh-oh. I did a bunch of other thinking up there too when I was up high on this tree. I thought about the little kids I had pushed off swings, about the Twinkies I had snatched, about the spider that probably wasn't a black widow at all, and a girl who was after something, but it clearly wasn't me. I thought about rats and real men and number one and angels and fame and first and last and love and nature's way. And for the first time since I started fourth grade, I knew exactly who I was, a scared boy up a tree. I listened. One of those names being called in for dinner, mine. One of those voices, mother's voices, mine. Mom! Mom! I yelled. Here, up here! Help! 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 I screamed my lungs out. Pretty soon, my mother appeared. Then my father, then a ladder. I came back to earth. My mother squeezed me harder than I had squeezed the tree. Look at you, she sounded mad. But I knew she wasn't. You're shaking like a leaf. What are you doing up there? I tried to answer, but only tears came out. I blubbered like a little baby. I couldn't help it, and I didn't care. I held on tight to my mom as we walked home. Sorry I gave you a hard time this morning, I sniveled. That's okay, she said. I was trying to be a good rat. I know. I looked up at her. You do? She smiled. I was talking to Joey's mom. Uh-oh. She laughed. 10 minutes after we got home, the doorbell rang. It was Joey and his mother. Hi, Suds, said Mrs. Peterson. She was smiling, but Joey, he didn't look so good. She said, Joey has something to say to you, Suds. I thought, what would he want to say to me, especially in front of his mom? Joey was facing me, but his eyeballs were up in the corner of his eyes. He didn't look any more like number one than I did. I'm sorry, he said. Don't stop there, said his mom. Joey blinked, coughed, swallowed, cleared his throat, shifted his feet, and twitched. I'm sorry I got you into. Pushed you, said his mom. Pushed you into that rat stuff. I shouldn't have talked you into saying no to your mom. And what aren't you doing anymore? I'm not saying no to my mom anymore. Mrs. Peterson nodded. Good. She patted Joey on the head. She smiled at me. Joey also wants you to know that he has dropped out of the rat race and he has joined the human race. Mrs. Patterson smiled over my head. My mother was standing behind me. Guess that'll about do it, Janet. I think so, my mom said. Mrs. Peterson mussed my hair. Bye, Sudsy. Bye, I said. They left. I turned to my mother. What was all that about? Just what it sounded like, she said. You didn't really think Mrs. Peterson was going to let him get away with all that nonsense, did you? It looked like she was, she nodded. You're right about that. She was trying to give him a little bit of slack. Let him work his way through this rat phase of his. That's why she backed off about the tattoos. That's why. Plus, she didn't want to discipline him in front of you. But when her patience ran out, that was it. Curtains for Joey the Rat. He said he was sick yesterday. She laughed. It was his mother who was sick. Sick of his shenanigans. She kept him home to clean up his room and his tattoos and his act. So that's that. For her, maybe. She was walking away. Mom, I said, I have a confession. All right. So tomorrow we will hear about that confession. All right, boys and girls. I want you to think about what this story has to do with what's it like growing up, things like that. Okay. All right. And all right. Until next time.